Hello dear QANplatform community, Johann Polecsak, CTO and co-founder of QANplatform here. Thank you so much for your patience for this Ask Me Anything session. Also, thank you very much for the really constructive and great questions, which added a lot of value, and we will discover really interesting topics. So we have many, so let's jump straight in. So first one goes, how do you see the testnet launch so far? So first, I'm incredibly proud of the team that we were able to launch the testnet, which features really amazing features which we promised, that being the quantum resistant security, the multi-language smart contracts, and full Ethereum and EVM compatibility. So this is, as we stated, we would do it. This is the world's first solution which composes of these three things, and everything is working as it should. So I think it's going pretty well. Thank you. So next one, are there any differences between Ethereum compatibility and EVM compatibility? Yes, there are. So these terms are often used as interchangeable terms, although they are not. So one is the subset of the other one. So being EVM compatible doesn't necessarily mean that you are Ethereum compatible, but being Ethereum compatible means that you are EVM compatible as well. So just to give you an example, EVM stands for Ethereum Virtual Machine, and that translates to the smart contract execution engine, so to say. And for example, to query balance of a particular account or wallet doesn't really interfere with the EVM directly. So that means that one could build a blockchain which is EVM compatible. That means that you can compile Solidity smart contracts into bytecode, deploy it, interact with them, but doesn't really speak the rest of the Ethereum protocol. So that wouldn't mean full compatibility, and maybe it wouldn't work with the popular wallets. So QANplatform is fully Ethereum compatible. That means that everything which works on Ethereum should work on Quan as well. That means you can reuse all your existing tooling, all your favorite SDKs, wallets, etc., you name it. So we support a broader perspective. The next one, what can a developer do with the current version of the testnet compared to a basic user? So I would first start with the developers, because one built on the other. So developers can write smart contracts in any programming language they prefer. The popular ones, for example, JavaScript, C, C++, Python, Go, you name it. So you have the full support list on the documentation website. They can, and also Solidity, so this was a question as well. So Solidity and EVM works, so they can also write these contracts in Solidity and port them from other chains. Probably they can write these smart contracts, they can deploy these smart contracts, they can use these smart contracts. So this is the developer part. Regular users most likely wouldn't be writing smart contracts anyway. But jumping to the basic users, so what they can do, that they can use the network as an Ethereum and EVM compatible network. So at this network, this RPC endpoint to their favorite wallets, they can download the Xlink application, which is required for the post-quantum security. They can link these two accounts together. They can transact with tokens when they request them from the faucet, which is currently a Telegram application, but will be extended also to a web interface. And finally, last but not least, these users can interact with the smart contracts which were built by the developers. So it's a full ecosystem, and they can try and test each other's work, send transactions and tokens to each other, and try the features of the Quant testnet and follow it on a public explorer, which is also available. So next one, yes, this was grouped together. So three quite long but really similar questions. These have been grouped together. So it goes, would there be a security concerns when translating code via Linux kernel? Won't this be a turnoff for devs who want their code to be exactly how they wrote it? Will this turn devs away from building in different languages, knowing their code may not be deployed exactly as how they wrote or wanted? Would think advanced devs are very meticulous and specific when it comes to this issue. So before I go to the next question, which is related, I want to state that we are not modifying your source code at all. So this is compiled to a static binary, and actually these static binaries can be even run on your own computer if it's running Linux. So this is somehow some kind of a misunderstanding, although I understand what it might be pointed at, but we are not modifying or touching your code in any way. It would alter its behavior. The only thing which is changed, and this is specific to all blockchains and all programming languages, so this is nothing specific to QAN or QVM, is that the execution context is different, but I will get back to that later when we went through the other two questions related to this. So the next one related to this, how do you see the adoption of smart contract development with non-purpose specific languages and the potential rise of security vulnerabilities and hacks that could emerge from the lack of specific safeguards? So also there was a question which was not selected here, which was asking whether the other languages which we support don't have the safeguards. This is the word which I remembered, that these other languages we support don't have these safeguards like Solidity does, for example, access control with the only owner modifier, etc. So it's important that Solidity itself doesn't have these either. So what the person who has asked the questions was referring to most likely are OpenZeppelin libraries. So OpenZeppelin has provided a lot of standards and templates and importable code which provide these safeguards and extend your code, and you can import it and use these modifiers and re-entrancy protections, etc. But again, this doesn't have anything to do with the specific language Solidity. These could be also implemented for all the other languages, and re-entrancy protection, access control, all this is obviously possible with other languages too. So it's nothing that we support languages which are less secure than Solidity. And the third one, is there any language that is the new native language that does not need to be translated? Which is it? Would this be considered the most secure for coding purposes? So no, there is no such thing or native as native language. So the languages which we support are, again, compiled to a static binary. There are two kinds of languages which we could differentiate. The ones which compile directly to machine code, and then there are the interpreted languages. So the former are like C, C++, Go, which compile to machine bytecode directly, and there are the interpreted languages like JavaScript, Python, for example, which are, as the name states, interpreted at runtime. So also Solidity compiles to bytecode, for example, which are EVM opcodes, encoded hexadecimally, for example. So to summarize these three questions, we are not modifying contract source code in any way, only we are optimizing it, so compressing and resources for later reproducibility and size saving, since the deployment costs also depend on the sources size and the binary size, but the logic, we are not changing variables and changing logic. So the second thing, that the execution context is different, and this is what we need to talk about, although again this is the very same principle as with the EVM, so it's not QVM specific or anything. What happens that when you, let's say, code an escrow contract which has a deadline that will expire, and for example, if you write code in any language, JavaScript, C, Go, whatever, and you are trying to base your logic on time, then it's possible that when the transaction is sent, that timestamp will be set to the previous block's timestamp, for example. So it's not the exact time. There might be a variance of 15 seconds, for example. But again, this is the very same in Solidity, where you have access to the block.timestamp variable, which you can refer to. So all these, and randomness is actually pseudo-randomness, not real randomness, which is required for consensus. But again, we are not modifying the code. These are execution environment parameters. And this is the same case for all the other blockchains too. So, and yes, again, to finalize and underline this, the Solidity is not a superior or specific blockchain language. It's, I mean, of course, it is a specific blockchain language because it's not really used anywhere else, but it doesn't give you like superpowers or safeguards. All these things which were referred to in the questions were mostly referring to Open Zeppelin libraries, which again are possible to implement for all the other languages. So what are the next steps for the testnet? So the Quant testnet will come in 4 major releases, and I will read what the current plans are, but as we are researching and developing this, these might change. It's completely up to the internal developer roadmap, research, and how we need to fine-tune, because the end goal is, of course, to release the mainnet beta as soon as possible, and we will align and might change the plan according to these goals. But currently, so we have completed the first step by launching the testnet itself, and we also have released 3 SDKs. And those are being Golang, Python, and JavaScript. The next one will be, I mean, the version 2. The current plans are the web faucet. So instead, or not instead, but in addition to the Telegram faucet, there will be a web-based interface for those users who don't have Telegram. Also, there will be a QANXLink integration v2, which will either not require Docker at all, but will definitely provide a graphical user interface for Xlink, making it more accessible to users who are not really familiar or comfortable with the terminal. There will be a TPS, so transaction per second optimization as well. And we will also launch a closed performance testnet variant, which will be actually just flooded with transactions. So anyone can check how many transactions fit into a block and what kind of transactions per second number we can achieve. And yes, the testnet version 3, so the next one after this, will also include a developer royalty feature, which I'm really excited for. And the version 4 will include the proof of stake consensus mechanism and not providing the validation. Okay, so the next one, yes, it goes for proof of stake. Since you will use proof of stake instead of proof of randomness in the mainnet beta, what are your assumptions? Will you reach the original planned TPS, or will it be lower or higher? So proof of stake will be most likely delegated proof of stake, which should not affect the transactions per second parameter in a negative way. Next one, the transaction fees are the transaction fees are still fixed and predictable with proof of stake consensus? Yes, so this is a core feature. We are not changing this, and in our use case, this does not depend on the consensus mechanism being applied. Next one, how long would it take to develop the proof of randomness consensus algorithm to replace proof of stake? So again, this is a hard question. We are aiming on releasing the mainnet beta as soon as possible, but generally I would say that it will take 3 months of full development focus, which we will of course start after the mainnet is released. So again, this is top priority to get it started as soon as possible for many reasons, as you know. But yes, we can calculate with that roughly a 3-month development time of full focus. Next one, in the future, the validators will be able to censor some transaction on a whim. Question mark. Will any external positive incentive test be introduced to avoid this? So Yes, actually, for any blockchain, transactions can be censored. So how blockchain works is that take a popular wallet application, MetaMask. I think that's the most popular one. You always have to enter an RPC address, which MetaMask will connect to and query the blockchain state and submit the transactions to. And you are actually trusting this node in the entry point of your transaction. So when you send a transaction, you will send it from your wallet to this node, which will propagate the transaction to the other nodes. So if this node happens to be against you or censoring transactions based on a pattern or on a random basis or whatever, so your transaction might get dropped and will not be propagated to other nodes. So in this case, you just must select another RPC endpoint, which points to another node, which might be possibly trustworthy. The very principle which gives you security that you can query all the other nodes on the network and see whether your transaction actually propagated or not and what's the current state of it. And but again, there is nothing preventing a node from simply dropping a transaction, lying about the transaction. So trusting a single node among lots of other nodes is just not a good idea yet. This is however it works. So what you should always do, and there are many SDKs which do this on your behalf, is to connect to multiple RPC endpoints simultaneously and cross-check each other. So let's say that you simultaneously connect to node A, B, C, and you transmit your transaction to node A, and you are then querying B and C, who are not affiliated with each other, obviously, these three nodes, or might be even counter-interested parties, and you are querying whether your transaction, which you submitted to node A, really shows up on node B and C as well. And if it does, then your transaction was successful. If it doesn't, then your transaction was dropped by the node which you submitted the transaction to. So this is not specific to Quan, and yes, this is the way how to avoid this issue. Next one, how long do you plan to test the testnet approximately? Well, it's as I said, it will be released in multiple phases, and we will start shipping off parts of the testnet, like the X-Link integration, QVM integration, our EVM integration, how we built the EVM module into the core product for audits. So these processes can run in parallel as much as possible. But yes, there will be stress tests as well. So actually this will be whole testing phase from the current version until the mainnet beta is released, which is aimed for the end of this year. So it will be a continuous, always ongoing test. Next one, what is your USP, so unique selling proposition for projects to build on QANplatform? So the first one is surely the unparalleled time to market. So as one of the core features of Quan, that being a multi-language capable blockchain platform, is that you don't need to hire external consultants. You can just use your internal dev team who can code in possibly any language and just build something and publish it on Quan. So this is a really strong USP, I would say. And again, so this is more and more, thank God, a hot topic in cybersecurity. I mean, the emerging quantum threat that all the companies, let them be startups or government, public sector projects, which are more and more looking into quantum security, can build feeling safe that what they deploy on Quan is going to be future-proof. So this is the other one, which is really important, among many other features, but these are the two USPs I would definitely highlight. Next one. What is the value proposition for currently running Web3 projects to build on the Quan testnet and in the future on the Quan mainnet? Well, so there are three things. So one is to provide a quantum resistant alternative to the current service or application they have running, or to just simply run in parallel. So they might have this decentralized app running already on Ethereum, BSC, Polygon, you name it, and they could run it also on Quan just to provide quantum resistant security, and maybe offer a one-way bridge or whatever that they can migrate from the other chains and keep the user base, keep their front-end applications untouched, and simply just start migrating the users to Quant to offer this in a simple way, the quantum resistant security. And also, last but not least, so the developer royalty feature, where if a developer is writing quality reusable code which gets imported by other projects, they can earn in a form of royalties. So the fees would be, the deployment fees, part of them would be directly paid to them and the other part to the validators. Okay, next one. How do you plan to onboard developers to build on QANplatform? So we are in active negotiations with amazing Web3 projects and companies who will definitely boost the Quan ecosystem as well. And there will be bug bounties, grant programs, and other kind of marketing activities. I'm not allowed to share at the moment publicly, but you will see the roadmap and the announcements will come, and you can check how we make traction there. Next question. Where is your laser focus nowadays? Rather on private blockchain, that means the enterprise blockchain, with business partners, or Quan on the public mainnet? So it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. So we already deployed a private to enterprise blockchain use case, and but of course we are working on the mainnet, as I stated in the previous chapters. And why I said this is a chicken and egg problem, because we also provide something called a hybrid blockchain, which combines these two. So essentially, to really fully utilize a private network, you need to anchor onto a public blockchain to make it really auditable and transparent. So the two go hand in hand. So I cannot say that we are focusing on this part or that part. Both are equally important to Quan, and we are putting focus on both areas. And yes, just as a note, which was here, that it was crucial to launch the private blockchain first. So all these slow bureaucratic processes which these larger enterprises and governments have to start rolling it out had to start. So when the public blockchain is ready, they can just connect it together in this hybrid model, which I just explained. But those processes had to start and go ahead. So when the public launches, it's just a matter of clicking the two pieces together. So it was a chronology decision. Next one. How do QANplatform supporters benefit from enterprise use cases which are mostly built on the private blockchain? So yes, referring to my previous answer. So they must buy Quanx tokens when they are linking the transactions and the state of their private blockchain onto the public blockchain. So if they utilize it in a hybrid model, they are required to have tokens for the public blockchain, because otherwise, of course, they couldn't be able to deploy those transactions. Next one. Are there more use cases currently built on the private blockchain? Can you reveal who and how uses your technology? So yes, there are many in the pipeline, and I think we will be really soon able to publish a few user success stories, but not yet at the moment, but I'm really positive that these will be soon released. Next one. How is the team planning to take advantage of the Qatari VC agreement? So the Qatari collaboration with MBK Holding is so much more than just a VC agreement. So it's an immersive collaboration to gain access to the market in the Middle East, and to be able to collaborate with MBK Holdings portfolio companies, so we are opening up in the area. I cannot publish anything specific yet, but it's definitely in the works. Next one, congratulations on the first EU country using quant technology. Can you please elaborate more on that? So I would be really happy to go into detail. It's really exciting, but for national security reasons, we are not permitted to share any specific details. Although I'm really hoping for that part of it may be published in the future. So there are discussions about that, but nothing was promised to us so far. Might be that we will be able to reveal some details on that. Okay. Next one, Microsoft created a quantum computer with 100 logical qubits. IBM created one with 1100 plus physical qubits. Which quantum computer will be capable of breaking the ECDSA, that stands for elliptic curve digital signature algorithm, first, and what algorithm will that most likely happen in your opinion? In what way does this put pressure on the team and the influence on the quant roadmap? So yes, this is the exact reason why the tech team chose to be able to release the mainnet as soon as possible and integrating proof of randomness in a later stage, and why we switched to proof of stake momentarily to be able to get going as fast as possible with the official mainnet. Because yes, we see the rapid advancement in quantum computing, and it's important to provide a quantum safe alternative as soon as possible. So it's important that these numbers, although IBM's qubit number is higher, these are still not fully stable qubits, these are noisy qubits. And as for the algorithm, I think it's definitely not Shor's algorithm which will be implemented first. Maybe look at the Ekara-Hastad algorithm, it's really promising. But again, we are developing the defense, not the weapon. So I'm much more into how to protect against these kind of attacks. Although, of course, I have quite some knowledge about the other side of the things as well. But what we are building on is how to defend ourselves against these kind of attacks. Okay, next one is the demonstration of the quantum problem still in the pipeline. So yes, the demonstration of the quantum problem, this was a roadmap object, which is still very important, and it will be definitely launched around the mainnet as an awareness campaign, so to say, which will demonstrate the quantum problem. That means that you can put your wallet address into a specific user interface. It will scan the public blockchains, and it can determine whether your account will be vulnerable to quantum computing attacks or not, and if yes, then why it is vulnerable. So it will give you a nice and detailed explanation whether your wallet is affected, and if yes, why it is affected or not. So we expect this to spread the word. It will be interactive, it will be descriptive, and users will see that just by sharing their address, which is supposed to be public, you can gain so much information and how a quantum computer will go ahead and perform these steps to actually compute your private key from your public key. So it's a really exciting project, and it's definitely in the pipeline, and I'm looking forward to launching it. Next one. According to Vitalik Buterin, a simple hard fork could subvert a quantum attack on Ethereum. Do you agree with him? So I read the statement as well, and I also read the statement where Vitalik says that few people will lose their funds, which is not as promising, and no, I do not agree with him. So a simple hard fork definitely cannot defend against this. It will be a severe hard fork with severe consequences, and this will affect all the layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains which have not initially planned for quantum security from block 0, definitely. And also it's important to highlight that it's a very appealing property of blockchains, which is pseudonymity, which will backfire at the post-quantum migration stand, because there's just no secondary mechanism of authenticating a user. So anyone who can sign a transaction with a private key is considered the owner of an account. So there are no restoration possibilities or any second factor or way a user could prove ownership of a wallet. And this very proof mechanism is the one which will break. So it's a really interesting problem. But to summarize, no, I do not agree. Next question. When Mainnet arrives, will all QANX tokens be migrated to the QANplatform's native coins so that there is no longer need for the BSC, that's Binance Smart Chain, or ETH, so Ethereum tokens? Or will the QANX token exist on all three networks, QAN, BSC, ETH? So users will have a way to migrate their tokens if they wish. We will be timing for the quantum attack, and there will be three phases of this migration step. So first, there will be a bridge which is capable of going both ways. So you can go from any chain, so like the Ethereum or BSC, to one's mainnet and go back and forth. Then there will be a one-way, so this will be turned one-way only, where you can only migrate your tokens from ETH or BSC to the Quant mainnet. And finally, this bridging opportunity will be shut off. So of course, this will be announced well before, because, well, as I said, those tokens are on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and they cannot be saved in the long run. So we will be planning for this, and the timing will be published, and users have time to use the bridge in these three states, and they can migrate all their tokens to the Quant mainnet. And after this timeline passes, the bridge will be shut off. So there was consideration at the creation time of the token whether it could be centrally stored, but the conclusion was that no central powers should be put in a smart contract because it's quite controversial and goes against the principles of blockchain. So the best way to safeguard against this is at the bridge level, that we provide a way to migrate tokens into a safe environment, and at some point turn off the ability to port backwards to an unsafe alternative. So next one, are the currently circulating ERC20 and BAT20 QANX tokens also vulnerable to the quantum threat like Ethereum and BSC? If yes, then how can this threat be mitigated? So yes, I answered these two questions in once. So yes, this three-phase bridge solution will be responsible for circumventing this. Next question, will the white paper Will the white paper be updated before mainnet launch? Yes, definitely. So there are many changes. When will all the CoinMarketCap information about Quant be updated? When will be QANplatform tagged as a quantum-resistant project on CoinMarketCap? Yes, this is definitely in the pipeline, so this is not my table, but I know it's being worked on, so this should happen soon. Next one, the regular when Binance, when KuCoin, when Coinbase, OKEx, when Mainnet. So of course I cannot comment on the sex launches as always, but again to highlight because of the roadmap. So there were many items which we published and accomplished which were not on the roadmap at all. Obviously we couldn't put it up there, we were working on it, but you could never see an EU country using Quant's technology on any roadmap so far, right? And yet it happened, and we are really proud that we managed to do that. And I think constantly asking just about the roadmap, and I said this in previous Ask Me Anything sessions, to please do not put so much pressure on the team, because they are really working from their hearts and they are really working day and night, and there are many accomplishments which were never advertised or published on any kind of roadmap, yet they have been achieved. So please be patient on these things. Finally, last but not least, when next AMA, so Ask Me Anything or talk with the community. I will do my best to check on the Telegram group more and more and engage in conversations. But again, I can refer to the previous point that we are extremely busy working on delivering the product and the promised roadmap. And of course, that's the first priority. So we are doing the best. But again, I will try to jump in more and more into the Telegram discussions. So yes, that concludes the question list. So thanks so much again for all the amazing questions, and hope to talk to you soon. See you on Telegram, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.